The thing you're missing is that the 60s was not an action. It was a reaction. And you got to understand, this didn't just come out of nothing by a bunch of crazy kids who had too much money, which we did have, and too much freedom, which maybe we had, although I didn't experience that. This was a reaction to a repressive era, so subtle that you couldn't find it written anywhere. There were rules, and we all knew those rules, yet they were never written. Do this, don't do that. If you're a woman and you were 21 and you didn't get married, you were a old maid. That's a crazy rule. For me, it was, be a man. Well, that may sound silly today. And of course, I am a man. But what that meant then, I could never be it, whatever it was, but it meant stand up for your woman at the movie theater when the big guy came and tried to fight you. It meant stand a certain way and have women step on my stomach. I'll never forget that. Girls stood on my stomach to prove I had a strong stomach. That's what it meant. Walk a certain way. You had to walk with your feet a certain way. I'm just giving you the physical side of these rules. These were rules. Yeah. I can tell you lots more. These were rules. The way you wore your shirt, you better show a certain kind of muscle tone, which some of us didn't have. The level of depth of your voice, the way you held the cigarette. You held it, I mean, it was a certain way. Everything was a way. And if you didn't do it that way, you got laughed at by your peers. Be smart, but not too smart. Talk, but not too much. How much was too much? I didn't know. I was a talker. I'm giving you 20 of 1,000 social rules that don't exist anymore. They went into how you drive the car, how you dance, who you associate with. It was extraordinary. And there was only one right way. Well, it turns out that nobody fit. But I thought everybody fit but me, and most other 60s people did also. So when we got the chance to rebel, we really let go, boy. Nobody was going to tell me anything about how to behave. Behavior was not up for grabs. I made the decision as to my behavior. And you got to understand that the 60s was a rebellion led by idealism that maybe was fantasy, but I don't think so, about civil rights, about peace, about kindness, about do unto others as you would have them do unto you, about what America really stood for. And it carried right from your home, your church or temple, and school, right to the society and the government that was around you. It carried right up that way. It was there telling us what to do, and man, they were. And we're not going to do it, and we're going to do something else we think is better. That's what the 60s was about, and you can't look at the 60s without looking at this extraordinary social repression that middle-class white and black people experienced. There weren't any middle-class blacks to speak of, but white middle-class and black South and North, too. It was unbelievable. When I tried to codify it, to find the rules written, I never did. They were never written. So how'd I get them? I don't know, but it was a look. And if you did bad, as I always did, I was always in trouble in school, so the principal always had me in the principal's office, sitting in the chair. And the trouble was, in one case, I played classical music over the loudspeaker system in the morning. I never forgot that. In another case, it was I was president of my school. A lot of 60s people were heads of their environments. I was president of my school in high school, and I had a protest against the lunchroom for the quality of the food, and we brought in pennies. Well, the principal said to my parents they were going to have me expelled over that. The guy should have laughed at me. Should have enjoyed it. Should have taken the pennies and given them to charity. I remember once we were studying the World War II, and this guy said Hitler had some good points too. Of course, I was Jewish, and I was raised to hate the bastard, as most Americans did. So I stood up in the class and protested. Well, I got sent to the principal's office for a protest. Can you imagine that happening today? Sent to the principal's office because you disagree with the teacher about that subject? Ridiculous. Well, it was ridiculous, and it affected my entire life. They, without knowing it, they, whoever they were, and you hear 60s people talk about them all the time and you can never find them, they made me. I did not become me out of my own creative genius. They made me. I am a reaction to an attempt to squeeze the society and make everybody the man in the blue suit and the woman in the pink dress and the woman at home with the two kitties and the dog and the white picket fence, and you never tell people the day before you're going to kill yourself that you're going to kill yourself. You're so unhonest. that you're about to die, and you still, when somebody comes to the fence and one neighbor says to the other one, "How are you?" The other one says, "Fine." Well, that made me crazy. And I'm still crazy about that. And when I come across a society like that, and I don't find that much, I think they're nuts. And I refuse to participate in it. So that's what the 60s is about. It is a rebellion against something that had a political side and a gigantic social side. And you young people who are watching this program, you've got to understand that felt so repressive, so lack of filled with any oxygen, that the only thing that this culture could do was blow up, and it did blow up against it.